Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Random Roundup. I'm your host, Aaron, and I have my two other hosts, Rudy and Dylan, and we have a special guest, Miss Kelly.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Would you guys like to say anything?
Well, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, first off, welcome Kelly to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys.
I think you'll have fun with us.
Yeah, we're gonna go have fun. I'm glad to be here.
And Kelly is my beautiful wife. This is Dylan, and she's our special guest. And she had we were talking and with our topic this week on the Random Roundup, and she had an interesting topic to discuss. So wanted to bring her on and talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. Right now, let's get into our segment. What you been up to, fellas? What you guys been up to today?
So, who wants to go first?
Dylan, Kelly, Rudy. Any of you guys?
I'll go first. It's pretty simple. So I know I've been on the quest to finish the Jedi Fallen Order, but I kind of took a break from that. I have not picked that back up, but I will get back to it. And I've been playing. I had an itch to play some Resident Evil, and people that will continue to listen to us on the Random Roundup was going to get used to me kind of literally randomly picking different games, or watching different things that are funny or interesting to me. So randomly, I just totally just felt like playing Resident Evil. So I was playing Resident Evil 3, the remake, and I've been playing through that, and that's just a fun game. That's just a fun game. And I play with everything unlocked, all the goodies that I have, and everything, all the fun weapons and stuff that's in the game, and it's just fun having Nemesis. Yeah, because I think it's Resident Evil Nemesis was the original. Nemesis is stalking you through the streets relentlessly, very Terminator. Kind of like Terminator from another franchise, but it's a lot of fun, and I've been really enjoying that. And it's so much fun. So that's pretty much mine. That's what I've been up to this week.
Resident Evil is a lot of fun. I remember my first Resident Evil was Resident Evil 5. That was a favorite of mine.
That's
and
fun.
then I'd say about a year ago I played Resident Evil 7.
That's
and it took me forever to get past the bug house. I was terrified.
Yeah,
that was
scary.
terrifying. I couldn't imagine playing it in VR.
I can't imagine playing the VR. I mean, I want to, but I don't want to. And because I've heard it's so good in VR. That first-person perspective, though.
I'd be way too scared.
I'm very conflicted. I've also played, full disclosure, I'm a super huge Resi fan. I've played almost all of the Resident Evil titles, and with a few exceptions. And I just finished 8, and 8 is great. There's something about that first-person perspective. 8 is also in first person, so there's something about that first-person perspective that is just super unnerving and creepy and difficult.
Yeah.
I don't know. There is something oddly comforting. I enjoy a lot of third-person perspective games. There's something calming about in the third person, knowing that something is not sneaking up behind you.
Yeah, because in third person you can see something behind you.
You can see something coming up behind you. Yeah. So that is spooky. Yeah, that is especially that turns up the spookiness with 7 and 8. Yeah. So.
Okay.
I guess I'll go next. So I recently beat Sly 2.
Awesome.
After it took me, I'd say more than a decade really to beat the game. 9-year-old me would be proud. The ending to Sly 2 was just amazing, but the final boss battle was a pain. I swear. It was a flying mission, and I hate flying missions.
Yeah.
It starts off with you shooting clockwork,
Mm-hmm.
and then she starts shooting missiles at you, so you gotta destroy the missiles, and then that gets annoying. And then you shoot her some more, and then she starts summoning portals, and you gotta shoot the rings of it. If you don't, you're basically screwed, because then you can take even more damage. So you gotta be on top of your game. And when I finally beat phase 1 of that boss battle, I was like so. My body felt so, I guess, like weak because I was so focused and I was so mad about the game. But
how long would you guesstimate that it took? That
an hour.
An hour.
An hour. It took me a lot of tries.
Were there saves, checkpoints, or nothing?
No. So vehicle missions
wow.
are literally the worst in Sly Cooper games. So if you die, the health bar for the boss resets. So let's say you're almost about to kill them.
Yeah.
If you die, back to square one.
Wow.
It is the worst thing ever.
Ooh,
I'm so glad I played the game.
This could be a topic for another random roundup, but like, it just reminds me of like, we could do a difficult endings in video games, right?
Yeah.
Because when you mentioned the Sly 2 ending with no saves, no checkpoints, and it took you like an hour to get through.
Until you get to phase 2.
To get to phase 2. It reminded me of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the last mission, and people that have played that game know what I'm talking about. That last mission, I think, is like almost 30 minutes to get through the entire like ending, including the cutscenes, everything, to get through that. And there's multiple segments, there's multiple phases. I think there's like 3 or 4 phases.
Yeah.
No saves, no checkpoints, old school Rockstar game, no saves, no checkpoints. I think that is one of the most notoriously difficult ending last missions to get through. That's, maybe we'll talk about that another day. But man, yeah, that just reminded me of that. Like that is just, and I remember playing that when I was a kid, like trying to get through San Andreas last mission, brutal. Yeah,
I bet. Yeah, that's Jesus. That's a nightmare. Okay, Kelly, would you like to? What you been up to with me?
Well, I can't say anything about video games, but
It don't matter.
just been working and just keeping busy. And I'm excited to go on vacation next week. We're gonna go to Vegas. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's been being a cat mom and just kind of hanging out. Same old, I guess, for me. But yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Aaron?
Okay.
I was gonna ask you, how many are there of the Resident Evil? Did you say there? I think I asked you before. But there's like 8 or 9, right?
Oh,
So
there's
there's-
more than 8.
There's 8 of the number titles, right?
Yeah.
But there's more than
And
that.
then there's 4 of
I
the
think-
not number titles. I think.
Yeah, there's
I forgot the names.
there's Revelations 1, Revelations 2. There's
wow.
Code Veronica, which I hope they do a remake of Code Veronica.
Oh, that would be
amazing.
That would be amazing.
Since Capcom is in the mood to do remakes of Resident Evil games, like Capcom, if you're ever hearing this at some point, please remake Code Veronica, please. But I'm probably not. There are tens of thousands of people that have been saying the same thing, so I know I'm definitely not alone on that. But yeah. So there was. I'm trying to think what.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. And then there have been like kind of rehashed versions. So I think it was called like the Raccoon City Chronicles, something like that, where it was like an on-rail shooter where it played through the first like 3-4 games. Oh, there was Resident Evil 0, which again I guess is technically considered part of the number.
Oh, that's right. Remember you telling me that? Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 0 through 8. And then there is... I think it's called where you... Well, there's a new one now where it's a kind of a multiplayer. I forget what it's called. Resistance, I think it's called. The Resident Evil Resistance.
I'm not
That's
sure.
the new multiplayer. And then they had this other co-op one a few years back. I think it was called, Raccoon City Stories, something like that, where you played different characters and you had different... It was actually interesting. I never really played too much of it. I think I played a little bit of it. Where you had key items. So one would have a knife, another would have a key, another would have like a paper clip or something. And then they would have to work together to solve the puzzles, get out of rooms, fight, survive. Some had a weapon, some didn't have anything. It had just a little key item to get them out of stuff. So they've been around for a long time and they've had a lot of fun
That's so
different
cool.
games.
Yeah, they have a lot of them. Well, I guess, give everybody choices.
Yeah.
Aaron, what have you been up to?
Well, been to my local comic shop. You just getting some comics. I just got Spawn, I think 322. I think I'm not too sure, but I think I got the continuation off Spawn, and Jesus, this issue what I read was blood gore. It was good. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, you could see that the character of Spawn has taken a different route of being a hero. He's taking that darker route. Now he's torturing his opponents.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets
We're in like vintage Punisher territory.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
He's torturing this vampire.
Wow.
I don't want to try to give too much away because I don't know if anyone's like reading the same book I'm reading. But yeah, he's torturing this vampire because he kidnapped a girl, and I guess they were looking for her for many years and they couldn't find her, and now Spawn finds her. So Spawn decides to play with with the guy, so he starts torturing everything. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, I guess not really a spoiler, but he said 145 days. That's how long she was missing. That's how long he's going to get tortured.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it gets I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, that's not the main focus though. It's more of another main storyline. I just got into this series.
Okay.
Yeah, this series has been like long back in the 90s.
Right. I was going to ask, because I've read some of the Spawn comics when I was younger. Like, I was going to ask you, like, because this is 322?
Yeah, 322.
So, like, yeah, what's your sense of, like, where Spawn... I think I've read when it was in the teens or 20s, right? So, now at 322, like, I'm just curious, like, what's your sense of where Spawn's at as far as the storyline, the universe? And I remember I watched the movie years ago, too, the Spawn movie. Yeah,
we don't talk about that.
We don't have to talk about it.
That's just a mess.
But yeah, I read and I read some of the comics, and so maybe give us a little bit of a rundown of like, because Spawn is there's this whole thing where he's kind of like with the underworld, right?
Yeah, he's with heaven, hell or heaven. Yeah, he's in a war.
He's in the war, right?
Yeah,
and then
against heaven and hell.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and yeah. I feel like the character where it's going, he's trying to find his sense of humanity because he doesn't really believe in a god he has to believe in Satan because that's what he's a hell spawn.
Right.
He's trying to, because I know in the storyline, angels are trying to kill him. Angels are supposed to hunt hell spawns.
Right.
And he doesn't want to be hunted. He just wants to live a normal life. He wants to see his wife.
Okay.
Yeah, but he can't do that now because he's a spawn. He goes on these crazy missions to try to put some humanity back, but he can't do that without making a target on him.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoy the comic. It's something refreshing. It's different between DC or Marvel. I feel like if I had to play Spawn, I feel like in his universe, he's kind of like the Batman.
Yeah.
But darker.
Yeah.
Way darker.
With a little bit of Punisher.
Yeah, a little bit of Punisher, yeah.
It sounds like, too.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. Right now, I'm trying to catch up with everything, so I'm reading Spawn Volume 5. I think that takes place issues 32 through 36. I'm not too sure.
And who does, who publishes Spawn?
Image Comics. The writer is Todd McFarlane. He was, once, he worked on Marvel, but I guess a bunch of other comic book creators wanted to leave DC and Marvel to create their own thing. So they have a little bit of power of their characters.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been just reading Spawn, trying to catch up. I am planning to get issue 2 of Superman 78. I'm excited for that.
Okay.
That's a continuation off the Richard Donner universe for Superman. Yeah, so we're going to see, I think the main villain is Brainiac. So yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Brainiac is, Brainiac's a really interesting villain. Yeah. And then, I'm trying to think if there was, I forget if it's Brainiac or if there's another one where he's basically, like, my friend back in the day said, what would I, everybody has what's their one superpower you would be, right? Well, if you had to pick one superpower.
Power of Doctor Strange. Right, portals.
Right,
so I wouldn't have to pay for a car.
That's true. But it's my friend, and I think this is Brainiac. I think, but he said that it was that his superpower that he would choose is to be a reality warper.
Oh.
Which I think I don't think that's is that Brainiac or is that
Brainiac's more of shrinking worlds.
Shrinking worlds.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He wants to collect every world he can find.
That's right. And then then who's the villain in Superman that's kind of like a reality warper type? Because is it the Mitzlik Pitlik guy?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I think that's that guy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
So
about.
that guy. Who's a villain, which I probably completely butchered his name, and
don't worry, I butchered his name.
But the Mitzlik Pitalik guy, right? I'll just keep butchering it. But that he's a reality warper where he actually can create the realities that he chooses, and I was like, that is such a cool power, because he goes, well, it's everything.
Yeah.
And so my friend, it was a little bit of a cheat, but my friend made a really good point that he was like, it's a little bit of a cheat, but it's but you could fly, you could have super strength because you're warping reality to be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
But this comic takes place in the Richard Donner universe, right?
Yes.
So this kind of takes maybe take us through that a little bit, like.
Okay, so I think this takes place after Superman 4.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but
Quest for Peace.
Yeah, I had high hopes for that movie
Yeah.
when I watched it for the first time, but it's bad.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, have you ever seen it?
I have, but it's been many years, and I kind of want to sit down and watch the Richard Donner series. All the Richard Donner inspired universe of Superman. Yeah.
So I think it takes place after Superman 4. I'm not too sure. They don't really indicate where it leaves off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's it's good so far. First issue, it's pretty good because I guess Brainiac puts one of his robots down on Earth, and Superman's trying to fight him.
Mm-hmm.
So Brainiac scans Superman's body, and it completely dies. Brainiac gets the information that he's the last son of Krypton. So that's going to be interesting to see in issue 2.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I'm not too familiar with this one. Is the artwork done kind of in the style?
Oh no,
of
it is.
Yeah, how's the artwork?
It's beautiful. You could tell when you see Superman. You could tell that's Christopher Reeves.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And do we have Lex Luthor?
Not when I saw in that issue.
Okay, because that'll be interesting if they're gonna get Gene Hackman's likeness in there.
Oh, they did Gene Hackman.
So Gene Hackman in the Richard Donner movies was
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
That's cool.
So I'm curious if this is a rights thing though, because Christopher Reeves, God rest his soul, has passed away, and he has departed this world. Mm-hmm. So I know maybe the rights have loosened up where they can maybe use his image.
Yes.
For the comics. Yeah. But Gene Hackman is with us still.
Yeah. I think Gene Hackman would be.
But I think Gene Hackman would be cool with that too.
Yeah.
And that would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good so far. So I would recommend you guys to read it. It's good.
Interesting.
Good.
That sounds cool.
But now we should get on to our main segments. Unnecessary sequels. It could be either to movies or video games. Who would like to go first?
Not it.
Not it.
Well, mine is mine's a little obvious, but I mean I can go first. Mine's a little like I don't want, and we can keep mine very short. I don't want to beat this dead horse. Mine is the Disney Star Wars sequels. The Disney Star Wars trilogy.
Boy.
Oh Lord.
So mine goes under the category of disappointing, right? So not unnecessary. I think Star Wars is such a big universe. You could tell endless sequels, endless side stories, endless main stories, all kinds of stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. Character studies. You can do TV shows. You could do lots of stuff. But I had some serious issues with that Disney sequel trilogy, and some of the wasted potential, some of these wasted characters, and we can kind of go through some of those, But you and me, Aaron, we had briefly talked about kind of like, and Rudy as well. Like we talked about.
I might join you in on this, Dylan.
Finn, what a wasted character Finn was. What an interesting character he was. He was a stormtrooper with the First Order, and he turns. And in that first one, in The Force Awakens, and we didn't see anything of his character. Any of those that would have been completely rich with storytelling, rich with ideas. You could have seen his internal struggle. Maybe he's trying to even, again, throwing ideas out there, him trying to turn other stormtroopers that he knew back to his side, or him struggling trying to fire on his former comrades, right? Like, there was there was so much richness with that character, such an interesting character. What was his motivations? Why did he turn? What helped him to go on this journey? And it just felt like it was such an interesting opening for him. And I would say the same thing with Poe Dameron. I thought Poe Dameron was an interesting character. So great, a great pilot, hotshot pilot. Such an interesting character. And it would have been nice for him to go on also a journey of like what motivates him, what is he about, maybe him going through a process where he is. I think some fans of the Disney sequel trilogy would say, yeah, he was humbled, but I would say go through a proper humbling process, right? Like that kind of maybe makes more sense and is thought through. And I'll just be honest, when you sit down and you watch that trilogy of movies, it flip flops all over the place. For example, Rey's important in the Force Awakens, or at least they set up she might be important. Mm-hmm. Then in Last Jedi, she's not important according to Kylo Ren. Mm-hmm. And then we get to Rise of Skywalker. Oh wait, no, she really was important. But she's, and again, spoilers, right? Sorry guys, spoiler for Disney Star Wars trilogy. But she's a Palpatine, right? So she's important, but she's with like the enemy. She has the blood of the enemy, and of a high-ranking Sith inside her. Mm-hmm. And so it just was, and I think even J.J. Abrams has come forward now, and he's kind of admitted that there wasn't too much of a plan going on with this. And I think anybody that sits down and watches that trilogy kind of feels the same. Oh yeah, wait, this doesn't feel like this trilogy had a plan.
So did they ever actually, because that was my issue that I always had with it too, and I think I've asked you this before, but did they ever actually show or give us what Rey's purpose was?
No.
I don't think they did.
Because she, not to be mean, but this is a running joke between me and Dylan, but she's the girl that was just walking through the desert, right?
Through the
okay.
desert.
Yeah.
In Force Awakens.
Okay.
So yeah, my beautiful wife Kelly, her first introduction to the Star Wars universe was Force Awakens. That was her first movie she ever saw, and then she was like, and I told her, well, have you ever, when we were dating, I was like, did you ever see Star Wars? It's such a great movie. She's like, yeah, I think I saw it. It's this girl walking through the desert for a long time.
I am so sorry.
It's a true story.
And that was a true. Yeah. And I go, what movie was that? What was that? And then we started talking, and then I was like, no, we gotta watch the original trilogy. Yeah. We gotta watch the prequels. Like,
yeah. And for the record, now I actually love Star Wars. Like, I like it. I think it's a great story. But yeah, for the longest time, for years and years, I thought this is the stupidest thing, and I do not understand why people like this. And so, but yeah, the first one that I saw, was with Rey. Just for what I felt for the longest time was walking through this desert, and I thought, what is the purpose of this? But now that I've seen it all and I know it all, I really love Star Wars and I can appreciate it. And yeah, I'm a fan now. But yeah. So,
and and my baby loves Baby Yoda. So she's totally on board with Baby Yoda. So.
Yeah, that was the cherry on top of the cupcake. There was the Baby Yoda. I was really excited when they came out with that. But yeah, but I love all of them now. Yeah, I love all the characters, and I love and I love where they where they went with the Mandalorian. But yeah, that was that was our running joke because I was like, the girl walking through the desert. So
yeah. So. Again, I don't, we can go as far as we want to go on this one, guys, but I just had to throw that out there of like disappointing sequels. It's been a few years now. There's a YouTuber I listen to. He has this thing called, I think it's called hypnosis. Mm-hmm. He has this term called hypnosis, and I'll explain it. Hypnosis is basically like when people's hype around something, a movie, a video game, a TV show is like sky high, like they're super hyped for it, that they're almost like hypnotized to thinking that movie or video game is really good. And so at the time you're thinking, oh, this is really great. No, it's great. Like there's action, there's all this stuff, and it looks really cool. But then when you really start digging deeper into that story, you go, well, what about this and what about that?
Yeah,
and it feels kind of empty, and you're kind of like, what's going on? And and so his point was that it takes a few years before that hypnosis wears off, right? Like where you kind of look back and after the hype, after everything is said and done, you go, oh yeah, that wasn't that good. Oh yeah, wait a minute, there were these issues.
Yeah.
Oh wait, like this character could have been done better, or this was a weak character arc, or weak story arcs, or incomplete stuff, or stuff that kind of like contradicted itself, and doesn't really hold up now that we're kind of a few years back, looking back at that.
So I'm curious, how do you guys feel about the Star Wars? Like, what he's saying? I'm just curious.
No, I agree with Dylan. I felt like there was a lack of character development during Poe and Finn. I mean, they could have had awesome moments, but they screwed it up.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't focus too much on story. They focused more on visual effects.
Yeah,
like
I agree with that.
Scenery, action scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they really wanted to make the sequels good, they would have put time into the story. But they chose not to.
They had over a decade, really.
Yeah.
Like, because Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005.
Yeah.
And Force Awakens came out in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
They had a decade.
Yeah.
To think of something.
I mean, hell, the only reason why Mark Hamill came back was because of Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. If those two weren't there, he wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
And now because
and just to jump in on that
Mm-hmm.
really quick, again, another big criticism that I totally resonated with. I think it was Chris Gore. He's a film critic, and he made this point. He goes, the fact that nowhere in that trilogy we did not have Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford sitting down in a scene together in a room for just a minute and just talking together or sharing a moment together. He the way he put it, he goes, that is cinematic malpractice. And I completely agree with it. Why? And he goes, and now, by the way, we're never going to have that because Carrie Fisher has now passed away.
Yeah.
God rest her soul, right? So we're never going to have that moment now of the three of these classic characters sitting down, kind of just having a moment together.
Oh, yeah.
Talking, whatever, just kind of sharing. Just for, and again, it didn't have to be the whole movie, but how about just a minute?
Yeah.
Just 1 minute of
They all meet up again after all these years.
Yeah, that would be great.
Just them kind of catching up or just sharing something together would have been such a great and powerful thing in that story, and it would have been a real nod to the fans and to this entire saga of like 9 movies in this continuing story. So. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I just had to jump in that because that was such a powerful point when I was
going to mention that too.
Yeah.
Because because the sequels did so bad, and let's say if they wanted to reboot it, they could have used Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher in a bigger role. They could have played a bigger role, but they didn't, and I find that a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Because God know well, Harrison Ford won't do Star Wars because he isn't a fan of the Star Wars series, because that's what he's known for. He's Han Solo.
Right.
Yeah. And Mark Hamill won't do it if Harrison Ford's not there or Carrie Fisher. Well, you lost Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
No, not Mark Hamill. Harrison Ford. Blah.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill's not going to do it. Mark Hamill stated that he's done with Luke Skywalker. He's done.
Right.
And I respect that. Let the man end the series. I mean, they did him dirty in Rise of... No, is it Rise of Skywalker they did him dirty, or Last Jedi?
Last Jedi.
Where
he's drinking that weird green milk. Or
yeah, they did him dirty. And I was hoping... I thought he was going to have a redemption scene at the last scene where he's fighting Kylo Ren. But no, they trick you, making him think that he's a Force ghost. Now he's a...
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that? Like, that's bull. I waited up to this point to see Luke Skywalker kick some butt, and you took that away from me.
Yeah.
I was disappointed. And I tried to defend Last Jedi, but I can't. They screwed it up. Mark Hamill could have had potential.
Yeah.
He could have, but he didn't. Luckily, they used him in The Mandalorian at the last... From what, season... Is it season 2 last season?
Season 2 finale, yeah.
Yeah, I was happy to see
that
Mark
was great.
Hamill.
Yeah, that was great.
They did him justice there.
Mm-hmm.
But the sequels, they didn't do any justice for him. I truly feel bad for Mark Hamill for him to be suffered like that. And I think he stated himself in an interview that it's not that good. He doesn't think it's that good anyways.
Yeah, and just, and now we have Marsha Lucas, George Lucas's ex-wife. This is just recently in the news. Anybody can look this up. Has recently come forward and has also had shared similar criticisms, about the Disney Star Wars trilogy, and that they didn't, quote unquote, get Star Wars. That they didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know, and I definitely am getting that feeling too. I definitely feel that feeling now looking back at these movies, at the stories, that Disney bought Star Wars, and I've shared this with Kelly too, and they bought this, but I don't think they knew what they bought.
Oh yeah,
like almost, because now when they're trying to tell these stories, it's like, why do you know what stories you're trying to tell? Like, do you know what this means or what's going on about, you know, stories of good and evil, and, you know, fighting, and, you know, fighting a good fight, and fighting in a good way, in a proper way, and also the side that's fighting in a improper, wrong, you know, way, and you know, the stories of faith, and, you know, in the Force, and, you know, and again, here's the thing, I will throw, you know, the Disney Star Wars people, you know, a bone here, and say, look, I did enjoy, for what it was, I really did enjoy Rogue One. I thought those had some great characters, and they had some great character development. And my favorite character in there was Chirrut Root. You know, he was the monk. He was the
blind guy?
the blind monk. Yeah, and he had this, you know, unwavering faith in the Force.
Yeah.
And you know, I remarked to to another friend when we were talking about this movie that he's the closest thing to a Jedi without actually being a Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Like he's practically a Jedi, but he's not really a Jedi. But yet his blind faith to the Force, and to what he was doing and protecting the temple, and protecting what was left of the Jedi remnants, you know, relics and otherwise, you know, and the crystals. In that character, and you see that character's development, and even the way, again, spoiler alert, sorry, we're going to spoil Rogue One, even when he dies in full faith of the Force, you know, and he accomplishes his mission, and he gets it done, and then he, you know, it's great. And the stories with the Death Star, you know, and how they explain the Death Star. Again, I will heap some more praise on the people that did Rogue One. I thought that was a great story. You know, they took a story where you keep bringing back this Death Star as the big bad technology, and I've heard it from fans for years that would say, "Oh, come on, the Death Star." You know, they keep blowing it up. Why don't they fix it? Why don't they just fix whatever's going on in the reactor and stop this from them constantly, the rebels coming in and constantly blowing it up? And you find out in Rogue One that this man, you know, the scientist and the father of Jen, you know, spent decades of his life designing it to put that flaw in there intentionally, and that for them to undo that flaw will take so long that for them it's not worth it for them, and they don't even know it's really there. And he's sacrificed his entire life, and it's so well done, and you tell that story, and it really kind of explain that in such an interesting way. My hope is also, with what was going on with the Disney Star Wars trilogy, is, you know, and Kelly talked about this too, with the Mandalorian. I'm hoping they are addressing some of those issues. You're seeing a little bit of that in the Mandalorian season 1 and 2, where they're talking about, for example, where did the First Order come from? What happened to the galactic government, the Republic, the new Republic that had returned? And again, I'll throw them a bone here, right? In Mandalorian, you're getting a sense that, you know, in some of those outer worlds that they're traveling to, and just kind of a few lines here and there, but that new Republic was not capable of protecting and defending its citizens, and that they were already starting to feel a lot of unrest and a lot of like, well, we have this new government, great, the Empire's gone, but now we're dealing with gangsters and different types of like rebels and different types of people that are showing up. At least the Empire kept us safe from that. You guys aren't. And so they're already kind of setting it up in the Mandalorian a little bit of like explaining what's going on in that world. And again, I just appreciate it. I think they did a really good job. I'll wrap it up, but and we could just go on. We could go on for hours on this one. But you know, I'll just wrap it up. I think there are reasons to be concerned, but there are reasons to also have hope. Yeah. So I'll just leave it at that.
Oh no, you said it perfectly, man. Yeah, Dave Filoni did a lot.
Dave Filoni
and
made Star Wars better.
And Jon Favreau, and
they helped make Star Wars better
they
again.
Did. Yes. They did.
Well, Rudy, would you like to go next, man?
Yeah, I'll go next.
Okay,
Speaking of Star Wars, an unnecessary sequel, and I love this game so much. The Force Unleashed 2.
That's right.
Oh man, The Force Unleashed was such an amazing game.
It was.
I'll explain the story in case you guys don't know. So you start off. I think it's a few years after Episode 3, but way before Episode 4. You're playing as Darth Vader. You're on Kashyyyk, and you're looking to hunt some Jedi down. You find the Jedi, you kill him, and you take his son, and to make as your new apprentice. And so now you're playing as this new apprentice, and you got to kill the remaining Jedi, such as Shaak Ti or there was this one guy that was kind of like the Jedi of Grievous that went extremely mad, and he made his like own Jedi temple out of trash, and it was a really interesting battle. And then I forgot the last one, but those were really good battles. And then I think the mad guy, the Grievous kind of guy, was the last battle. And then you go into a cutscene where it's you and Vader talking, and he says, "Hey, we're gonna try and take the Emperor down," which is a cool thing. Like, oh my god, I get to team up with Darth Vader and take down the Emperor? That's so cool. And then you realize it's not that. Vader stabs you in the back, literally, with his lightsaber.
That's right.
And then he throws you out into space. And then you realize, I'm not dealing with this. I'm gonna become like a Grey Jedi, maybe, you could say. And then he ends up helping... Oh yeah, General Kota. General Kota was the first one. The first boss. So you find General Kota again to become a better person and to help take down the Empire. And so you try, and your final battle is to either get revenge on Darth Vader, which he's almost dead when you fight him, or you could go and kill the Emperor. So spoilers for both of these endings in case you never played the game. So if you were to go and kill Darth Vader, you obviously kill him, and then you help your friends escape the Death Star, but you still end up dying in the process because you're just trying to protect your friends from the Emperor.
Right.
And if you go for the Emperor, Darth Vader is still alive, but you still die in the process trying to save your friends. And they obviously escape successfully, and that's when the new rebellion is created.
Right, which seems like that would be the canon ending.
Oh, I wish it was canon still.
Oh, right.
It's not canon no more, sadly.
Right.
Excuse me. So, Force Unleashed 2, you have 9 months to create a game. That's such a short amount of time to create one game.
Oh yeah, it is.
So, if you've never played the Force Unleashed 1, you would not know what's going on in Force Unleashed 2. So, the first thing is, you're a clone of a dead man. And you betray... Yeah, Starkiller. And you betray Vader automatically. And... like, you're going to find General Kota again, but you don't know why. Why do we have to find General Kota? What's the point? Why? How is he going to benefit us in the story? And they never explain that. And then you got to find Juno, the love interest from the first game. I kind of forgot about her, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But she was the love interest for Starkiller in the first game, so you're trying to find her, but why? Why? Why should we care?
Explain it?
No, never. They don't explain these characters. It's because they didn't have enough time. And then I don't know. It's just a mess. Then you get to fight Darth Vader again.
Right.
Which is the only cool part of the game, really, because it doesn't hold your hand like throughout the whole game, which I was explaining in the last podcast, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
He was. You were.
But this game didn't need a sequel because 9 months is such a short time, and it was not thought out, and they should have just said no. It should have just been its own game.
Yeah. That is, it's unfortunate, it is unfortunate. And I know we covered some ground with that in the last episode with the Force Unleashed 2. But, I was going back and actually watching some stuff with Star Wars games. And it totally reminded me of one of my favorite moments from The Force Unleashed. I think it was 1, which was so cool.
Bringing down the starship.
Starkiller bringing down the
it's because he's the coolest.
Yeah, that was such an amazing moment, and it's one of those where it really ups the bar and really kind of, it's such a cool moment, and it's definitely, I would put it up there with like, Yoda raising the X-wing out of the swamp or something really where you just kind of see that next level. You get a little glimmer of that power of the Force, of just how powerful the Force can be. And if we have the wisdom and the ability to channel it, or these characters could use that to channel it, how interesting it is. So, yeah, just wanted to, I guess, maybe leave that off on a positive note.
I love The Force Unleashed, but I'm sorry, number 2 just wasn't good.
Okay. Kelly, would you like to go?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. So my topic for this week, or not my topic, but my... I guess I should say my movie series trilogy would be Fast and the Furious. I just kind of feel like, I don't know, the Fast and the Furious franchise, I can harp on them all day, but I kind of feel like they went on for too long. I think when Brian died in the 7th one, I think that kind of maybe was near their ending, but I don't know, and I think they just have kind of left it off of, I guess Brian is still alive, and we just don't really know what's going on, and so it's a little bit wishy-washy for me, and I just kind of feel like it's come to an end, and I miss the good old days where it was really about family, and it was really about, I don't know. It's just
I thought it was about racing.
But it's not. It's not. Not anymore. Now I just feel like it's about the FBI and the CIA and who knows who contacting them.
Spies and
spies, and
I
they
never
have to
watched the movies.
They have to do these which I'll love the Fast and the Furious franchise. I always will. They do feel like a part of family. I think if you've been around for every single one, I think when the first one came out, I was 11, maybe 12, and I watched it so many times because it was so fun and new and interesting, and racing just became a big thing, like in the community and for kids and everything. But I don't know, I think now they've just got so far away from where they first started that it's almost like, well, it's not almost, it is confusing now, is, Brian is still alive, and what's going on, and I don't know, I just kind of...
And I was going to say, and because you and me, sweetie, we watched the F9, the Fast and Furious 9 together. And again, spoiler alert. So again, spoiler for Fast and the Furious movies. So you y'all have been got a heads up on that as well. That ending from Fast 9. Mm-hmm. And it's so awkward, so cringy. Dare I say it? I'm not trying to be insensitive here, but that ending where they're waiting for Brian to show up for dinner, and then his car just pulls up. That was just, I'm not trying to be mean, but we all know Paul Walker, again, God rest his soul, is no longer with us. Like, this is awkward. Let's be honest, let's be real. Paul Walker, Brian, the Brian character, he's never coming to dinner. Yeah. It's over. He's gone. We all know this. And I'm not trying to be... Again, I'm not trying to be insensitive or mean here, but let's be real here. He's really gone. Yeah. He's not alive anymore, and so it's getting really awkward and uncomfortable. Especially, like I said, that ending where they're like, the Vin Diesel character Dom is like, oh, we're waiting for someone else, one more person for dinner, something like that, right? And it's like the car pulls up, and it just feels awkward, and it's because we know Paul Walker is not with us anymore, and I think we even we talked about this after that movie was. It feels really awkward because to me, even the way they ended that, and this was my take on it, the way they ended it that way was, are they trying to imply that they're going to bring back Paul Walker? They're going to bring back the Brian character in some way? Because it was really awkward the way they ended that with him, he's coming to dinner and his car pulls up and it just feels really...
It couldn't be someone else in the car? In his car?
No, but that's what they were implying, though. They're setting them up, Paul Walker.
They're setting them up like, Paul Walker is still alive.
And when the car pulled up, the windows were tinted, so you couldn't see who was in it.
You couldn't see who was in it. But it's almost this kind of weird tease. It was just this weird, awkward tease of the ending. And to me, it almost felt like, oh, watch out, because F10, Brian is going to be back. It just felt weird. It just felt...
And I'm with you, and I respect them. I think losing him, it was like a brother to all of them. He was such a close friend. I think
Yeah.
that there's really no way that everybody would have been happy with the way that they took, Brian out, or however they're doing it. Nobody's, obviously everybody's not happy. I'm okay with it, but I was okay up until, I guess, the 9th one, where I kind of felt like, Brian is going to come back in some way. And, you and I kind of had a moment where we laughed, and they implied that, Brian's now almost like a glorified babysitter. That now he's just home with the kids. We can't really see where he's at. And I kind of just felt like...
throughout F9, he is taking care of these kids. Constantly. Yeah,
because Mia's there. Mia
Right.
Mia steps in a couple times to join the crew or whatever for what she's there for. But she kind of they just kind of imply that Brian's with the kids and Brian's busy, and I don't know. I think and I'm not saying that what I think they should have done would have been right and they're wrong, but I do think to a certain extent, like, if they would have made it like, because I think Paul Walker in real life said that, like, I don't remember if he says I think or I want to. I want to go out going fast. I want to go out in a car, and I want to go out doing what I love to do. And, he strangely, prophesied what he was going to happen to him at the end of his life. God bless him. But I don't think he'd be mad if he went out, maybe protecting his family or watching over his family or doing some stunt that maybe didn't go good, but his family made it out alive, and he took that bullet for them. So
and I understand, and I agree with you, sweetie. I think that it was, it is unfortunate that Paul Walker did pass away, and I do think they saw him as a brother and family. And I don't, but like I said, that left a really bad taste in my mouth. That ending to F9, where they're really leaning into Brian is still alive. Brian's coming to dinner. Look, Brian's showing up. Here we go.
Yeah.
Like. Again, they had moved him from the background babysitter character to, like, he's right here. Here he is. Here he comes. He's right here. It's like, it felt just
I think it's their way
awkward.
of saying, like, Brian's always going to be with us. Brian's not going anywhere. He's in our hearts. He's still with us. And I get it. I mean, I'm not saying that they're wrong or it's terrible. I think that they kind of pushed it a little bit too far in the 9th one, as if Brian literally physically is still here. And like you said, might come back for the 10th one. And it was just kind of like, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen it? Have you guys ever?
I never watched
I
Fast and Furious.
stopped at F7.
You did?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where I stopped at. I stopped at F7.
Yeah.
So for those of us who have watched, I have my own, but I wanted to ask you all a question. What, again, trying to maybe put a little bit of a positive on it. What was your favorite Fast and the Furious movie, and why?
That'd be a good question.
So who wants to go first?
So I've always loved the original, the first one. That was like that. I don't know. That was like, you felt like that was a part of, like, when you guys would have like a kickback, or when you guys would just chill with your friends. Like, they made it feel real. Like, that's like what family, I guess, if we're doing the family joke, right? That was really family, what family was like. And I think for back in the day, racing became a big thing, and it was fun, it was interesting, and you got to see all these cool, effects. And I think a lot of the tricks that they did, or a lot of the stunts they did, were realistic. Even when they went under the 18-wheeler, it was kind of like, okay, like, you could, I guess, if you had a tiny enough car, do that, But I don't know. I think the last couple ones, like the 8 and 9, they kind of lost me. But I they all were pretty good. I think they were fun. When Paul Walker was there, it was a little bit more fun. He kind of made it interesting, and him and Dom had that close relationship. But yeah, I know which one's your favorite.
I know I was going to talk about that. And what is your favorite?
I'm gonna have to agree with Kelly. The first one. I thought the first one was brilliant. Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was enjoyable to watch. I mean, it's totally different than what we're seeing now. It wasn't about spies or anything.
Right.
It was just about racing. I would have to say the first one. The first one's my favorite.
So I have a lot of respect for the first one. It probably is one of the best ones, because it sets up the characters. It's really good. It's interesting. The action, the racing is all really well done. But my favorite one, especially because we're in such reboot world now with our entertainment. But I really liked, and we're in the post-Marvel cinematic universe and this type of stuff. My favorite one probably was Fast 5, and here's why. I think that it took a really great franchise about racing and running from the law and like this kind of underworld, and then did a twist on it and said, okay, we're going to do a heist movie. And I'll be honest, I'm also kind of a sucker for heist movies. I love the Ocean's 11 with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, and I love but a lot of the time in those movies, especially a lot of these heist movies, a lot of the setup for those movies is getting to know the characters, setting up the characters. But the great thing about Fast and the Furious is you already knew all these characters. Yeah. You knew Paul Walker. You knew Vin Diesel. You knew Michelle Rodriguez. You knew all these characters that they were already setting up because you've watched 4 other movies with them. So by the time you get to Fast 5 and they're bringing in these other characters, they bring in, Tyrese and, these other guys, characters you go, oh, and Han from, Tokyo Drift, right? Like, they bring all these characters in and you're like, okay, cool, well, yeah, and if you've seen the movie, great. But if you haven't seen those other movies, that's okay, too. You can kind of just keep up and you go, okay, well, these are great characters, and then and their different skills sets, and then it really worked well with a heist movie. I would have, and then the target that they're going after again is a drug kingpin, right? So it's like, oh, I'm not going to sleep at night. I'm going to sleep well at night. I'm not going to have any trouble sleeping with these guys going after stealing money from a drug, a drug lord. Like, yeah, who cares, right? Like, not going to lose too much sleep over that. And it was fun, and they were in Brazil, and it was such an interesting setting, and they were in the underworld racing scene, and just doing heist film. And I think it was a really great way to do. To me, that's how you do a reboot, a reset, or put an interesting twist on a movie franchise or movie series. Is you do something, you place to their strengths, and then maybe do a twist on it. And I felt like that was a really natural twist for them to do a heist movie. And it would have been interesting for them to continue to do maybe different heists or different things like that. I feel like now it's evolved to it's just spy stuff. And now that's all they do is just spy stuff. Spy movies, types of stuff. And it kind of feels like it's spinning its wheels. And also kind of the point where I feel like that franchise, if I had to say weirdly, was when it kind of maybe lost a little bit of its magic was... of course, the loss of Paul Walker, but in terms of the story itself, I would actually say, which is I think happens by the 7th or 8th, 6th, 7th or 8th movie, depending, when they all are no longer criminals. They all are given immunity, or all the charges are dropped against them, and they can go back to living a normal life. And then after that happens, you go, well, why would they ever? Go out and do crazy stuff ever again, right? Because you go, well, you have the right to go back to, and I think it's the 7th one where Dom, because reasons, right? Like, he goes back and he starts doing really shady stuff all over again, but you find out he's being coerced into doing it or whatever. But it's still, you would have gone, no, he would never have traded away his clean slate for that. He would have found another way, and so. And I feel like it lost a lot of that engine in the, to use the car, the car metaphor.
That's true.
The engine was that they were on the run, and again, that shows up in Fast 5. They're on the run. They run to Brazil because there's nowhere else to run. So it really sets them up going to Brazil. It sets up them going to different places around the world, and that opening in Fast 5 where. Paul Walker and I think Jordana Brewster, his wife, they're starving to death. They're literally starving to death, and that's when he pulls that job. He does a dangerous job, and then Dom comes in there and saves them, and he says, "You did the wrong job." And he goes, "We were starving to death." I mean, and you believe it because you see in that opening they're starving to death. They're out of money. They've just barely made it on fumes into Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, I think. And they're struggling to survive, and this one big opportunity where they can get some money comes along, and he's like, okay, let's do it. And you feel that, and they really do a great job of setting that up. But anyways, I could go on, but yeah, that was my favorite and my reasons why. Fast 5.
But I
really
agree.
good.
I think
Yeah.
the 5th one was a good one. I did like that, and I did like the way they did that. I think along the way, though, they definitely did kind of lose their momentum and lose it out, and things got unrealistic. But Aaron, what is your topic for this week?
Mine
Or not
is
your topic, but your
Jaws 2.
Oh,
that's right.
Jaws.
That's
I felt like Jaws 2 was unnecessary, and we never need Jaws 3, Jaws 4, or Jaws 3D. They were unnecessary. I mean, in Jaws 1 at the ending, we all know Bruce the shark dies. Okay.
His name's Bruce.
Yes, Steven Spielberg named the shark Bruce.
That's good. That's good.
That's a cameo in Nemo because you know how Nemo has. That's why it's a cameo.
Bruce. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So now, at the end of Jaws, they didn't leave no cliffhanger. There was nothing. They killed the shark.
It's a closed story.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Then another shark attack happens in the second one. Well, like, I don't think it was necessary. I mean, the movie was perfect. They didn't need no sequels. I mean, I tried to give like Jaws 2 and Jaws 3 a chance, but when Jaws 4 came, and I guess the wife of the sheriff had a telepathic connection to the shark. That's where I stopped.
What?
Yes, it's bad.
So it literally jumped the shark.
Yeah, literally, it's bad. I mean,
telepathy in the Jaws movie? Okay, yeah.
I mean,
you win.
Yeah. I hate it so much.
Completely unnecessary.
I have to watch that now because I remember the first one, but now I have to watch the second one.
That sounds horrific. That sounds terrible.
It is, and it's just I felt like when I watched the second one, it was alright. I mean, it was kind of boring to me. I mean, I just felt like it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I just felt like Jaws the movie was perfect. I don't think it needs a reboot. I think it should just stay its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
But when you're digging the depths for telepathy to kind of keep stretching it, that's why again what I was talking about with Fast 5, right? Where it's like at least they take a natural. If you're gonna do a sequel, and all these movie companies are gonna do sequels because that's where the money is. I get it. It's fine. They all want to keep making movies to make money, and and actors gotta eat, and they gotta make boat payments and all that good stuff, right? Everybody's gotta you gotta keep making stuff.
Literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively, right? Like you gotta get paid, right? So I get that. But at least play to your strengths, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think the second one should have been if they did come out with the second one? Just out of curiosity, I always like asking that question.
I don't know.
Because
I get like that too.
Let's say they were going to say, look, Aaron, great, you did a great job on Jaws 1. We're making a Jaws 2, with you or without you. Now we'd like to do it with you, but you got to come up with a killer idea.
I don't like.
Are you just gonna stick with the first one?
Because I feel like that's Hollywood, right?
I have to stick with the first one.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean,
so we're doing it without you because by the way, I feel like that's how Hollywood is, right? Hollywood's like, we're gonna make this movie with or without you, right? Like because we need to keep making this train. The train needs to keep running, right? We need to get paid. So,
I think it would have been cool if they would have done a second one to have done it where like there was something going on with the sharks, like nothing like unrealistic, like mutant sharks, but
if
like
they could do it right. If they did the sequel right, if they could have done it right with the right writers and right storytelling, I think the sequel would have been great. But I just felt it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was not. I was going to mention Psycho 2, but we are running out of time.
Wait, what is Jaws 2 about?
Jaws 2? I don't even want to explain it. It's frustrating.
Which Jaws is the telepathy? I might just skip to that one.
I think it's Jaws 4,
just
if I'm not wrong, or is it Jaws 3? I don't know.
I might need to check
they
that
hurt
one
my
out.
head when I think
there's a Psycho 2.
Yeah, there's a Psycho.
We just literally watched Psycho 2 days ago.
Yeah, there's a Psycho 2, and I don't think that deserved a sequel.
There's a Psycho, I think 3 and 4.
Yes,
right? It's terrible.
Maybe I already knew that, but I forgot.
It's bad.
Those. I was not going to waste your time with those.
No,
yeah, those are bad.
Because not to be mean, but I'm going with Aaron on this. I feel like they kind of wrapped it up in Psycho.
They did.
Yeah,
they did.
No, I think I've seen or read some of the Psycho sequels. The Norman Bates, spoiler, right? He's the bad guy. They keep letting him out of prison. That's the setup for every single.
Is that where they go?
Yes.
Yeah. Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and I think Psycho 4. They just keep letting him out of prison.
I know. Just stop. They should have just left it in Psycho 1. It's a perfect movie. It's brilliant. Yeah. I'm gonna get frustrated. Let's just end the podcast.
Yeah, we gotta wrap
now.
this up. But yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
Okay.
Sign us out.
Yes.
Wow, it did bad.
Yes, Jaws 2?
Yeah, Jaws 2 did terrible.
I know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Random Roundup podcast. Kelly, thank you for coming on with the podcast with us. We appreciate you for sure.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
Thank you, sweetie.
Well, Phyllis, we did good. We will talk. Let me talk about next week's episode is going to be myths and legends.
Ooh.
So get ready for that. I think that's all we have to say, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Adios. Stay blessed.